Thinking real estate.
Are we supposed to talk now? I'm just so into the music.
You can sing, talk.
You can
Whatever.
have 25 minutes of radio silence too if you want.
Good.
And the station,
think that would stimulate?
People will think the station is off
It
air.
Could.
Can we start this show up with our pop-up retail that's going on?
It's your show.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's that?
It's the Artsy Fartsy Marketplace.
What?
Yeah, the Artsy Fartsy Marketplace.
You can't say that on the radio?
I did twice,
Okay.
and I'm sure I'll say it again before the end of the show.
I'm sure you will.
But we have created a marketplace for artists and vendors to sell their
Who's we?
myself, Jackie, Jane Robinson, Julie Colazar, and it's for artists and vendors with original work.
Artist inventors or artists and inventors?
Vendors.
Oh, vendors. Artists and vendors.
Right.
It was a
With
little,
original work, and they can get a booth. We have room for 13 booths.
15 to 17.
13 to 17. I don't know how many we have sold out right now, and then we have a fine art gallery, so you could put 1 to 3 pieces in if you don't have a whole bunch of stuff to sell. And it's going to be juried. In other words, we're going to pick, of the people who apply, we'll pick who can be in there.
who's on the jury?
Well, I'm not sure
And
yet.
what do you mean by pop-up? I don't understand what that means. I have
Pop-up
no
is-
clue what you're talking about.
Pop-up is... So, do you know what it is, Greg?
No.
Oh, you do. You look like you do. You're just taking Bill's side.
No,
You know, you men stick
no, I'm not.
together.
No, you haven't
Pop-up,
explained at all
up-
what you're
It's
talking about.
It's the Artsy Fartsy Marketplace, and it's
Okay.
going to be, the grand opening is November 20th from 6 to 9. That will be a ticketed event, $10 and $5 that ticket can go to purchase of art from vendors that are set up. And then from November 22nd to December 24th, a regular schedule will be at the Vermeulen's building downtown on Cortland with a marketplace. So you can do all your Christmas shopping there with original pieces of art.
So some
Or
will be
creations.
some will be $5.
No. Well, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe someone will sell earrings for $5.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay.
Highly doubtful. Highly
But it
doubtful.
will be nice,
But
nice
it's
stuff.
intended to be a short-term marketplace. I liken it to a farmer's market that occurs like a Wednesday morning or Saturday,
Right.
but this is going to be just for the holiday season. There's a little more explanation that I think
Well, I
has to
haven't
go with
finished.
this thing. We'll
The
finish.
time frame is Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7, and then Sundays, 12 to noon. So we will be open on a nice regular schedule, and there'll be different events throughout the 4 weeks. Always something popping up in the pop-up. So for 1 month, you can come and get some original creations for your holiday gifts or for yourself.
And that's called again?
The Artsy Fartsy Marketplace. And we have a Facebook and
I just
a
wanted to
website.
hear that.
It should be censored. Do you have a 5-second time delay on this show?
Absolutely not.
You don't?
No.
It's live?
This is
So you
Live radio.
you can go on Facebook if you're an artist or a vendor or just want to know what's going on. And Facebook Artsy Fartsy Marketplace, then it will come up. Or you could just go to our website, Artsy Fartsy Market.
No, thinkjacksonmi.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. ThinkJacksonMI.com.
It's a little different, isn't it?
But you could probably Google Artsy Fartsy Marketplace.
Fartsy stands for what? Fine art?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. just
It's,
Just
an
create-
acronym, right?
checking.
Right. Yeah.
Just checking. Okay.
We want it
So
creative,
Monday.
fun,
I'll
and
say.
creative. Hey,
Okay.
do I do anything that's not fun?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, there you go. And we're gonna work with restaurants downtown. It's gonna be a great thing to do in downtown Jackson. One more thing.
One thing or one more thing?
Stop it.
The cornucopia.
Sorry. That too, yes. Okay. A cornucopia of fun.
So what, you're starting November?
November 22nd are the regular hours. We're not starting That's DDA Day, and we were gonna start on the 21st, which is the parade downtown. Santa comes to town that day, but it's also the Lumen Christi auction. It's a busy night, so we decided to wait until DDA Day to start.
And that's the 20.
November 22nd,
Okay.
11 to 7. And then the grand opening ticketed party will be from 6 to 9 on November 20th, and I hope you come.
5 to 9.
5 to 9, sorry. You're right, 5 to 9. I wrote 6 to 9 the other day. 5 to 9. $10
Oh,
for fun,
can't beat it.
for great time.
Can't beat it.
And I gotta thank Lynn Vermeulen. He didn't even think twice about it. He said, absolutely.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Very.
Anyhow, all right, for our topic today. I'd
Yeah.
love to-
Before I do that, I said I was going to give a shout out.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I need a new muffler on my Jeep. Went into Muffler Man this morning, figuring I'd just have him look at it, set up an appointment. They actually took care of it in about 20 minutes. Did a great job. Price was great. So just a shout out to Muffler Man. I don't know if they're listening or not. The owner
They
slash
should be.
manager is Don. I just want to let them know what a great job they did. I really appreciate it.
Right.
So go ahead. What are we talking about today?
I had a closing last week in
Well, that's good.
Calhoun County. I have to keep the men of my life in the style which they become
Yeah, a
accustomed.
closing last week. All right, that'll keep me in stock.
Whatever.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyhow, I had more than one, but I'm
Good.
not telling you. I'm not telling you what I have going.
Very good. All right. So you had a closing in Calhoun County.
What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine.
I get it.
Anyhow, Calhoun County, and it was a total. It was a house on 14 acres and a trailer on 1 acre. So total 15 acres.
Okay.
Buyer didn't really care about the trailer, but whatever. It was all one parcel. We wrote an offer. Now we couldn't get lending on the trailer, so we wrote the offer on the house in 14, and then an offer for the trailer
You
in
want
1
to
acre
explain why you couldn't get financing on the trailer?
because it's too old.
And it's
Bank-
personal property.
Well, there you go. You just explained it. So
There
we
you go.
wrote
That
an
was a
offer
rhetorical
for
question,
$1 on the trailer.
All right.
But anyhow, the township told the purchasers that once it transfers hands, the trailer has to go because it is no longer, or it was a non-conforming use. So I thought we might want to talk about non-conforming uses.
How long had it been there?
I think a long, long time. It's an old trailer, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's there a long time, but has its own septic and well.
Wow. Wouldn't that be grandfathered?
Probably not. If it was,
Really?
yeah. Here's the way nonconformities work, particularly nonconforming uses. You have two types of nonconformities. One is, we'll call it dimensional nonconformity, where it doesn't meet current setbacks. For example, when a house was built, let's say they built it with a 5-foot side yard setback, and the ordinance was subsequently changed, so it requires a 10-foot side yard setback. That's a non-conforming structure. It's a dimensional nonconformity. That nonconformity is going to continue irrespective of transfer, irrespective of the use of the property, until such time as a certain percentage of that structure is demolished or replaced. And that's why sometimes you're stuck, if you have an older home and you want to renovate it, sometimes you may be stuck with the original foundation. In other words, you can't build outside that original foundation. And you must keep so much of the original structure. I've actually
Do we have
been
that
aware-
up in Tawas?
in Tawas, yeah, we have our place in Tawas doesn't meet the current, what's known as the backyard setback, because it's on the lake. The lake is the front yard, the backyard is on the street, and we would not be able to meet the backyard setback because we're only about 12 feet from the right-of-way, and it's actually a 35-foot setback, I think, from the right-of-way now. So to the extent that we want to renovate the cottage, et cetera, if you do more than, I think it's 50%, or it might be probably 50% of the cottage, you'd have to meet the current dimensional requirements in terms of setback, height, et cetera. But what you're talking about is not a dimensional variance. You're talking about a use variance where they've got an accessory structure, extra home on the lot, and that depends upon the use.
But it was a deeded, it had its own legal description. It's a trailer sitting on 1 acre own legal description, which kind of baffles me. What if they sold them separately?
It still might be an illegal nonconformity because it depends upon the use. If that trailer has been abandoned, and if you look at the local
Nope, it's
ordinance.
rented.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm, it's occupied.
It's been continually occupied and has not been abandoned?
Correct.
All right, then I'm a little surprised. Somebody ought to look into why it is the township is treating it as a nonconformity. It must be a nonconforming structure. Their ordinance is triggered by transfer, which would be a bit unusual. I'd have to look at that particular one, because usually it's the use. If the use is abandoned, some ordinances are as short as 6 months, some are as long as 18 months, but it's the use. And so I'm a little bit perplexed that they're saying that they can no longer have that trailer occupied since it has been continuously rented. That surprises me. I want to know a little bit more about the
Yeah,
ordinance.
they've told my clients that trailer or any structure that's less than, I think, 800 square feet is no longer in compliance.
Well, that may be, but I'm still in a legal non-conforming use. If it was legal at the time it was constructed.
Yeah, why wasn't it a problem
Yeah.
5 years ago? That's what I,
It probably was, except they're apparently triggering the
transaction?
the transfer is triggering the inability to continue the nonconformity. I really would want to
The
see
other
that
thing that
ordinance.
happened is the septic on that particular property wasn't working correctly, and the seller had to fix it, which I thought was interesting. If the trailer was going to be required to be removed, wouldn't they want the septic abandoned also?
Yeah, that's completely inconsistent. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and the seller spent, I think, $1,400 or $1,500 fixing that septic tank.
Only to
I
find
think
out.
they need to retain wise legal counsel.
Yeah.
They need to have somebody look at that to find out what's going on and whether or not the municipality can actually stop the continuation of the use. Now,
Is that the county that's
that'd be township.
township?
Yeah, that would be, I think it's Clarence, I want to say
Sullivan.
it's Clarence.
Or starts with an S.
Yeah, the septic,
Sheridan.
the septic
Oh,
system.
Sheridan Township in Calhoun
The
County.
septic field, all that system is county. That would be the county health department, not the municipality. So they're dealing with two different entities in
Right.
terms of that. So maybe the seller just didn't understand what was going on. They made the repair to the septic field before understanding that they were not going to be able to use it. That would really tick me off if I was a seller.
Right.
But as a buyer, I mean, this illustrates, this happens actually quite frequently, and this is why I always tell prospective purchasers who I represent, check with the municipality. You want to verify that you in fact meet all of the current zoning requirements. We actually will ask for a zoning endorsement from the title company. Usually there's no charge to it. There may be a nominal charge. We simply get a letter from the municipality to the town or to the title company verifying what the zoning is and if the property is in conformity with the zoning. So the buyer, if the buyer was counting on that rental income, needs to go to the township to find out whether or not the township is actually going to allow it, whether or not they're going to have a hassle. Now understand, the municipality isn't always right, but at least if the municipality is taking that position, the purchaser can address it before actually doing the closing. Interesting.
Yeah, well, we've already closed, but the trailer isn't that important to them. They weren't sure whether they wanted to keep it or not, so this kind of stimulated that. However, you gotta feel bad for the seller that spent $1,500 on fixing the septic tank.
And, well, was it the tank or the field? Probably the field.
No, it was the tank, had to do with the tank. Well,
Yeah.
it didn't matter, it's still $1,500.
Well, no, I mean, no. Understand that if they did a repair to the field, you might actually be able to use that as expansion area for the existing drain field for the house. In other words, a lot of times what happens is when you buy a smaller lot, when the property was constructed, they put in a drain field, a septic field, and back in the days, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there was sometimes no thought given to what's known as expansion area because the field's only going to last 20 or 30 years. And so they need to be able to expand it somewhere else. And so it may be that if it was a repair to the field as opposed to the tank, that they might be able to, if the existing drain field for the existing house ultimately fails, that they could use the drain field or a portion of the drain field that was that was repaired for the trailer. They might be able to use that. So they might still get, the purchaser might still get some benefit out of it.
It was, I'm pretty sure it was the tank fill, but regardless.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Well, this
She
particular
has this look, she has
township,
this look of expectancy on her face.
well,
Not
it
pregnancy,
amazes
but
me here he's
expectancy.
talking about drain fields. He knows everything. Just everything.
Well, I've encountered it before. I mean, when you're as old as I am and you've been in practice for 42
Yeah, but
years,
you've lived
you
it- you-
pretty much.
You haven't lived in the, I mean, you've lived on a drain field.
We had a drain field at
house-
Skiff Lake.
Right, but that's the only time that I can think of. Did
But
you
I-
have one when you were growing up?
No, yeah, out in Rochester. Yeah, I was on a drain field, but I knew nothing about it. But I've represented lots of people who have bought properties
Oh.
with drain fields, and we have to have them inspected. In fact, there are municipalities, Ingham County is one, in which the sale of the property, transfer of the property cannot happen until
Oh.
you get a certificate
A
from the
point of
health
sale.
department. Yeah, point of
Point
sale,
of
right,
sale.
right.
And there's
Same
partial.
thing in Washtenaw, too, I think.
Washtenaw has
Right.
it with their septics. I don't think they have it with their wells though.
Doesn't
But I'm
matter.
not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, it's the septic field though that's usually most troubling. But hey, look, I've got
Well,
a,
and part of our challenge as realtors is this particular township's only open, I think, Thursday mornings.
Sheridan Township?
Yeah.
Isn't Albion, is Albion in Sheridan?
Well, this is north of the highway, just north of the highway, so it could be. I don't know. I really don't sell in Calhoun County
Much.
ever.
Ever?
This
Oh.
is like the first one I've ever
well, so you
had
can't
in
say you never
Calhoun.
do it. You did one.
One, right. I rarely go outside of my boundaries, but this particular couple was pretty awesome, and it was the house they wanted, and everything
Well,
else I
please,
showed them
whatever
was
you
in
do, don't
Jackson.
exceed your boundaries. I don't want
Well,
you to do that.
Do you want to recap our breaking news?
Pop-up retail?
Yeah.
The artsy fartsy marketplace. I thought you didn't want me to say that word anymore.
Artsy.
want you
Now
to
you're
just-
into it, aren't you?
Really, I want you to just keep on.
Yeah, keep on
on,
keeping
keep
on.
on.
Keep on keeping
Yeah.
on. So everybody go vote tomorrow. Right? Oh, and
Yeah.
Saturday,
I already voted.
Why not?
Jackson High is doing leaf pickup in the city
Mhm.
for. Yeah, are you advertising that? Are you marketing that?
Call 618-1452.
There you go. And let's see, what else? Artsy Fartsy Marketplace, vendors and artists, please call 780-3800 and we'll get you set up with a booth. And then if you want to buy or sell real estate, call me 780-3800.
So you need artists, right?
We do
Yes.
need artists
Okay.
and vendors.
And vendors.
I mean, such as people who make wreaths. We've got a chocolatier coming, I think. Someone's interested in jams, jellies, and
Really, anybody
pies,
that's artsy
things like
fartsy
that.
can participate in the pop-up.
Sounds
thing.
good to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.